In the year 2472, Earth had changed. The blue planet was no longer just a world of oceans, forests, and cities. It was the capital of a young but fast-growing civilization that had spread across the solar system. Cities bloomed beneath the domes of Mars. Towers rose on the frozen plains of Europa. Titan skies buzzed with drones and cargo freighters. For the first time in history, humanity was united under one banner, the United Terran Republic. But peace was fragile. That morning, a deep space signal reached Earth's central communication hub in Geneva. It was marked with the highest galactic encryption. Only one group used such codes, the Galactic Council, an alliance of ancient alien civilizations that ruled over thousands of star systems. The message was short. Earth's rapid militarization and artificial intelligence programs violate interstellar security laws. You are hereby ordered to dismantle all offensive fleets and AI weapons. You have 7 Earth days to comply. Refusal will be considered an act of war. The message was signed by High Chancellor Veldar, a name feared across the stars. The Council had spoken. Earth was being warned like a rebellious child. The Geneva Assembly fell silent. Dozens of world leaders and military officers watched the message repeat on the main screen. No one moved. No one spoke. The weight of it settled in the room like smoke. President Helena Ward broke the silence. A tall, gray-haired woman known for her calm under pressure, she looked around the chamber. "We've waited a century to be seen. Now they want us back in the shadows," she said coldly. In the war room below, Commander Rhea Morgan watched from the sidelines. At 34, she was the youngest officer to lead Earth's Stellar Defense Force. Her dark eyes focused not on the message, but on the fear spreading across the room. She had seen this before on Mars, during the terraforming riots. Panic, division, weakness. After the broadcast, the Assembly held an emergency meeting. Rhea was summoned to speak. She stood before them in her Black Fleet uniform, voice steady and clear. "The Council sees us as children playing with fire. They forget. Humans learned by surviving the fire. We won't back down. We can't." Some nodded in agreement. Others frowned. "We are outmatched," said Minister Zhao, the diplomat, to the Council. "Their fleet spans systems. We can't fight them." Rhea replied without hesitation. "We don't need to match their numbers. We only need to make the cost of war too high for them to continue." Silence followed. Her words had weight. The Assembly was split. One side wanted surrender. The other wanted to fight. Behind closed doors, President Ward met privately with Rhea. "You realize what you're suggesting could bring the end of our civilization. If we kneel now, we'll never stand again," Rhea said. Ward studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Very well. You will prepare our defenses. But know this, if you fail, Earth falls." Rhea saluted. By nightfall, she was aboard the Unity, Earth's flagship orbiting above the moon. The crew snapped to attention as she entered the bridge. "Commander on deck." She walked to the main viewport. The curve of Earth floated below. "Peaceful. Vulnerable. Status?" she asked. "Outer colonies are alert. Defense systems on Mars and Europa coming online. Titan request reinforcements." "Good. Begin Fleet Code Black. Prepare all AIs for deployment." "Council law forbids autonomous combat AIs," a lieutenant reminded her. "We're past laws," she replied. "Now we survive." On Europa, buried in icy caverns, engineers activated Project Aegis, an AI war system banned by the Galactic Council decades ago. In orbit around Mars, drones swarmed into formation. And on Titan, civilians lined up to volunteer. They knew what was coming. The first step to war wasn't a missile or a laser blast. It was a message. And Earth had received it loud and clear. Rhea stood at the edge of the command deck, watching the stars, her voice quiet but firm. "They think we'll beg. Let's show them we remember how to fight." Commander Rhea Morgan stood inside the operations center of the Martian defense complex. Thick walls of red titanium surrounded the war room, deep beneath the surface of Mars. On the walls, holographic maps flickered, tracking satellite grids, drone movements, and ship positions across the solar system. Outside, storms of red dust swept across the plains. But inside, the colony prepared for war. Rhea walked between command consoles, her boots silent on the metal floor. Screens lit up as technicians worked quickly, updating power grids, bringing old defense satellites back online, and checking automated turrets around the cities. "How many railguns do we have active on the Martian Ridge?" she asked. "6 are ready," replied Captain Ella, her second in command. "2 more in 2 days. Fusion batteries at 60%. Push it to 80%. If they attack Mars first, we hit them with everything." Ella nodded and began giving orders. Earth was under countdown. Only 5 days remained before the Galactic Council's deadline expired. There had been no further messages, no negotiations. Only silence. A cold, final silence. But silence did not mean safety. Rhea knew they were being watched. Somewhere in deep space, alien scouts were already mapping Earth's defenses. The Council would strike hard and fast. They believed Earth would panic and fall apart. They were wrong. Rhea boarded a transport ship bound for Europa. The icy moon held one of Earth's oldest scientific colonies and its most dangerous secret, Project Aegis. The journey took 6 hours. As the ship descended into Europa's frozen crust, Rhea looked out at the wasteland below. Giant glaciers creaked and cracked. Wind howled across frozen mountains. The base itself was hidden beneath a mile of ice. Inside, scientists in thick uniforms greeted her nervously. Project Aegis had been shut down by council law, but never destroyed. It had waited in silence, cold and buried, until now. In a large chamber lined with glowing cores, the AI system came online. Hundreds of drone pods opened, humming softly. Defense AIs, once considered too dangerous, now blinked to life. "We're violating galactic treaties," one engineer said quietly. "We're already under threat," Rhea replied. "This is survival, not diplomacy." Back on the Bridge of Unity, her flagship, Rhea reviewed enemy movement. One of Earth's long-range surveillance probes had picked up a Council scout fleet entering Neptune's orbit. Small, fast, armed. A warning. "They're testing us," Rhea said, watching the feed. "Let's give them an answer." She ordered a covert fleet of 12 drones, armed with cloak drives and EMP warheads, to intercept the scouts near the outer asteroid belt. The ambush worked. Earth's drones struck quickly, disabling 3 enemy ships and forcing the rest to retreat. But Earth suffered too. 2 drones lost. 1 damaged. It was a small battle, but it changed everything. Rhea sent a message to the president. "We held the line. For now." Back on Titan, the situation grew tense. Civilian cities had begun blackout drills. Factories shifted to military production. Children were taught to hide in bunkers. The people of Titan, miners, engineers, scientists, sent messages to Earth's assembly. "We will not run. We will stand." Rhea reviewed every signal. She saw fear, yes, but also courage. The kind only humans showed when everything was on the line. Meanwhile, the political world on Earth trembled. Diplomats begged for one more negotiation. Some even suggested dismantling Mars' defenses to show good faith. The vote to keep fighting barely passed. Tensions inside Earth's own government threatened to fracture the unity Rhea fought to protect. Still, the preparations continued. Saturn's moons were turned into early warning stations. Venus' orbit launched swarms of microsatellites. Luna Base, hidden on the dark side of the moon, opened its nuclear vaults. Late that night, Rhea sat alone in her quarters aboard Unity. She stared at an old photo on her desk. Her parents, both scientists, who had died during the terraforming riots when she was a child. She spoke aloud, softly. "They think we're too young, too weak, that we haven't earned our place in the stars." Her hand curled into a fist. "We'll show them what humanity really is." And across the solar system, a simple but powerful signal echoed from ship to ship, colony to colony. One word. Hold. They would hold the line, even if it cost everything. The storm was no longer coming. It was already at the edge of the solar system. Across Earth's colonies, the tension had become heavy. The Galactic Council's silence after their ultimatum spoke louder than any threat. Their scouts had been driven off, but everyone knew it was just the beginning. The real invasion was near. Everyone could feel it. On Earth, the United Terran Assembly was in chaos. Inside the marble halls of Geneva Command, diplomats, ministers, and military leaders filled the chamber. The president sat at the center table, looking worn but firm. Reports came in fast. The Neptune outpost had gone dark. A civilian cargo ship was found drifting, its crew missing. Long-range sensors detected energy spikes near the Oort cloud, signs of Council fleet activity. Minister Zhao, Earth's lead ambassador to the Council, stood and raised his voice. "We must send a message of peace. We must avoid extinction. A second attack could destroy us." Others agreed. Their voices shook with fear. But Rhea Morgan stood calmly near the back of the room. She wore her fleet uniform, arms crossed, face unreadable. When the president called her forward, she stepped into the center of the room. "Extinction doesn't come from fighting," she said clearly. "It comes from surrendering without trying." "Commander," one elder minister said, You are asking us to fight a force 10 times our size, with weapons we barely understand. No, Rhea said. I'm asking you to believe in who we are. She paused, looking at the assembly, people of different cultures, ages, and roles. Some looked away. Others met her eyes. We didn't come this far to kneel now. We reached the stars with nothing but grit and broken tools. We survived Mars storms. We cracked Europa's ice. We built from dust. And now, when we're finally standing tall, they want to push us back down. She looked to the president. I say we push back harder. The room went quiet. Then the president stood. Put it to a vote. The screen tallied the results. Earth would fight. But just barely. Rhea wasted no time. She returned to Unity and began coordinating the defense. Every outpost, every fleet, every automated drone was now under her command. She sent out a message to all colonies. Earth stands. Hold the line. Defend your skies. We fight for our future. On Titan, citizens had already taken up arms. Engineers converted mining ships into armed transports. Scientists turned weather satellites into jamming devices. Drones were painted with Earth's colors, blue and white, circling the colony like a metal swarm. A young technician named ISA, barely 20, loaded crates onto a shuttle. Will we survive? She asked her captain. He shrugged. Maybe not. But we won't go quietly. Titan's skies darkened with storm clouds and defense turrets powered up. Meanwhile, on Europa, Project Aegis reached full capacity. The AI War network spread across the ice moon's orbit. Unmanned strike ships, cloaked and fast, took their positions in the shadows of Jupiter's moons. The AI commander, codenamed Vigil, reported to Rhea through a secure channel. Enemy fleet trajectory confirmed. Arrival expected in 48 hours. Target zones: Mars, Titan, Earth orbit. Activate stealth protocols, Rhea ordered. Let them come. Rhea returned to Mars for one final inspection. The Martian Ridge railguns were fully operational now. Automated turrets lined the equator. Human troops trained in the red dust, wearing gray armor, rifles slung across their backs. Captain Ella met her near the surface dock. Morale's holding, he said. Barely. Some are scared. We all are, Rhea replied. But fear can be shaped into strength. She looked out across the empty red landscape, thinking of Earth, of her family, of the children hiding in bunkers on Titan. She pressed her comlink and addressed the entire solar defense network. This is Commander Rhea Morgan. The enemy is coming. Not because we attacked them. Not because we invaded their worlds. But because we dared to grow. Because we dared to dream beyond Earth. They think we will fall apart. That we will break under pressure. That we are just another weak species. Let's prove them wrong. Let's show them what it means to be human. Across the solar system, her voice rang out in ships, bunkers, bases, and towers. On Titan, workers paused and listened. On Earth, children gathered around screens with their families. On Mars, soldiers stood taller. And in deep space, the dark shape of the Council's armada continued its silent approach. The line was drawn. Earth would not run. Earth would not bow. It was no longer a question of victory or defeat. It was survival. 2 days later, they arrived. The Galactic Council's fleet entered the solar system like a wall of steel and fire. Thousands of ships, black, angular, and glowing with blue plasma, spread out across the edge of the system. From the rings of Neptune to the dark emptiness near Uranus, they formed a wide net of invasion. They did not send another message. They did not ask for surrender. They came to end humanity. Commander Rhea Morgan stood on the bridge of Unity, Earth's flagship in orbit around Saturn. Her face was calm, her hands steady, but her mind raced. Behind her, screens blinked with updates, fleet movements, drone formations, energy readings. The battle was about to begin. Around Saturn, Earth's defense was ready. Hundreds of human-built ships, smaller, older, but heavily armed, floated in formation between the gas giant and its moons. AI-controlled drones moved silently in the asteroid belt, hidden and waiting. Railgun platforms had been placed on Titan's surface. Mines floated invisibly in the planet's outer rings. This was the front line. The last line. Enemy fleet in range, reported the tactical officer. Multiple waves. No sign of diplomacy. They never planned to talk, Rhea said. Begin code black. The ship lights dimmed. Battle mode engaged. All human ships shifted positions, forming a tight, curved wall. The Unity took the center. Rhea stared into the holographic map of the field. It looked uneven. Their ships were scattered, underpowered. But she knew the truth. They were prepared. The Council struck first. A wave of plasma missiles screamed across space, aimed at Earth's left flank near Saturn's moon Rhea. The human ships there, a mix of cargo freighters turned warships and drone carriers, began evasive action. Explosions lit up the sky. The battle had begun. Rhea's voice cut through the comms. Phase 1. Release the decoys. Dozens of small ships broke formation and raced toward the enemy. These weren't real fighters. They were fast-moving metal shells filled with noise jammers and flares. The Council ships turned to attack them, and in that moment of confusion, Earth's main fleet moved. Railguns fired from Titan. Giant rods of steel launched into space at hyperspeed, piercing enemy cruisers like spears. AI drones emerged from the asteroid field, striking from unexpected angles. EMP mines detonated near enemy supply vessels, disabling them instantly. In the chaos, Rhea watched the field like a chessboard. Every move counted. Every delay mattered. But the enemy was strong. Their shields absorbed fire. Their formations adapted quickly. Earth's left wing started to falter. 2 cruisers exploded. A drone carrier went silent. Redirect fire to Sector Delta, Rhea ordered. Bring in Europa's Shadow Fleet. From behind the ice moon Dion, hidden strike ships emerged, stealth fighters armed with hacking probes and cloaking devices. They slipped into enemy ranks, injecting virus codes into the Council's ships. Screens flickered on the enemy side. Some vessels turned on each other. It worked, briefly. But then the Council deployed its dreadnought. A massive battleship, the size of a city, moved into the fight. Its core glowed with violet energy. One beam, thin, silent, cut through 2 human destroyers instantly. Target that ship, Rhea commanded. Everything we've got. All weapons turned. Railguns. Missiles. Plasma cannons. The dreadnought's shield shimmered, then broke. A final shot from Unity's main gun, powered by Europa's AI reactor, smashed into the dreadnought's core. It exploded. Slowly. Silently. A blue fireball drifted through space. The fleet cheered. Briefly. But there were more enemy ships, many more. A second wave entered Saturn's orbit. Faster, angrier, more precise. Earth's ships were now spread thin. Communications broke down. One by one, the outer stations went dark. Rhea looked at the battlefield. She saw the collapse forming. They were winning, and still losing. She made a choice. All remaining drones, full assault. Send the Aegis protocol. Captain Ella blinked. Commander, that's our last reserve. I know, she said. Send it. On Europa, the AI known as Vigil activated its final weapon. A viral command spread through every Council ship in range. Their systems froze for 5 seconds. Only 5. But it was enough. Earth's fleet surged forward. Missiles launched. Drones swarmed. Ships collided. One by one, the Council vessels fell back. They didn't surrender. They just stopped. Their lines cracked. Their command chain was silent. The fear of failure, of losing to a species they considered beneath them, spread among them like disease. And then, without warning, they retreated. Not all. Some still fought. But the bulk of the force pulled back, vanishing into the darkness beyond Uranus, leaving behind shattered wreckage and unanswered questions. Rhea stood on the bridge, sweat on her brow, breath slow. The battlefield was quiet now. Fires burned in the distance. Ships drifted, broken and silent. They had won. But the cost was high. Over a third of the fleet was gone. Titan had suffered damage. Mars had gone offline during the final wave. Dozens of brave crews would never return. Still, they had done what no one thought possible. Humanity had survived. They had faced the Council and made them bleed. Rhea turned to her crew. She didn't cheer. She just said 3 words. Hold the line. They had held it. For now. The battle was over, but the solar system did not feel victorious. Debris floated above Saturn. Twisted steel, shattered drones, the remains of both human and alien ships. Fires still burned in orbit. Some emergency beacons blinked in the dark, waiting for rescue. Others had already gone silent. The battlefield looked like a graveyard in space. Commander Rhea Morgan stood on the bridge of Unity, her uniform torn, her hands bruised. Her voice was quiet, but steady. Begin recovery operations. No one gets left behind. Yes, Commander. Ships from Mars, Titan, and Europa moved quickly to rescue survivors. Shuttles searched for escape pods. Engineers tried to restart dead vessels. Medical crews worked without sleep. The cost of the battle was still being counted. Back on Earth, the news spread fast. First, there was disbelief. Then silence. Then something else. Pride. For the first time in history, humanity had defeated a fleet from the Galactic Council, the same council that had ruled the stars for thousands of years, the same council that had demanded Earth's surrender. Earth had not just survived. It had stood tall. People flooded the streets of New York, Nairobi, and New Beijing. Screens everywhere showed the same image, Rhea Morgan on the command deck of Unity, calm, strong, alive. Across the colonies, flags were raised. On Titan, a child placed a white flower on a small metal memorial for the fallen. On Mars, workers rang the old colony bell for every ship that didn't return. On Europa, engineers lit blue lights in the ice tunnels. And on the Moon, a crowd gathered under the stars and simply stared upward, tears in their eyes. The Galactic Council was silent for 3 days. Then, a new message came. This time, it wasn't a threat. It was from a young diplomat, not High Chancellor Veldar. Earth, we underestimated you. Many in the Council now believe that was a mistake. We offer a ceasefire. You have earned your place in this galaxy. No apology, but no more threats. A small but powerful step. Rhea read the message twice. She didn't smile. She just forwarded it to the president. Veldar, the one who had sent the original ultimatum, had disappeared. Rumors said he was removed from power. Others whispered he had gone into exile, ashamed that his mighty council had been pushed back by what he once called a child race. Meanwhile, something strange began to happen. Other civilizations, long silent and afraid of the council, began reaching out to Earth. Messages came from the edge of the galaxy, from small planets and quiet systems. Refugees, scientists, colonies forgotten or ignored by the powerful. They all had the same message. You stood when we could not. Now we want to stand with you. The Battle of Saturn had become more than a victory. It had become a signal, a crack in the old order, a new beginning. Back aboard Unity, Rhea walked the ship alone. The crew was resting. The engines were quiet. Outside, stars drifted by slowly. She stepped into the broadcast room and opened a channel to the entire solar system. This is Commander Rhea Morgan. We fought not because we wanted war. We fought because we were given no choice. They tried to silence us, to control us, to erase our future before it began. But we didn't break. We bled. We lost. But we stood. Let this moment echo across the stars. Earth is not a child to be guided. We are a people who earned our place, through courage, through unity, through fire. We remember those who gave their lives for that future. And we promise, this galaxy will never be the same. The message was heard on every planet, station, and ship. It reached beyond the solar system. And somewhere far away, among stars Earth had never seen, someone heard it and listened. The war was not over. But the invasion was. And Earth, once ignored, now had a voice that could shake the stars. The sky above Earth was peaceful, blue, clear, calm. It was hard to believe that, only weeks ago, the solar system had been on the edge of destruction. Now, the stars no longer felt distant. They felt different, familiar, claimed, and watched with new eyes. Earth had survived the war. But survival came with a cost. The official count was released. 312 ships destroyed. 14,000 lives lost across Earth and the colonies. 37 outposts damaged. One homeworld changed forever. And yet, for the first time in human history, no one was divided. Not by nation. Not by colony. Not by distance. The war had united them, by fear, by fire, and by choice. On Luna Base, the first memorial was built. A ring of steel panels stood on the moon's dark side, engraved with names. Each name marked a life given during the Battle of Saturn. Families came from Earth, Mars, Titan, and Europa. Some carried flags. Some carried photos. Some carried nothing but silence. Rhea Morgan stood among them, wearing her fleet uniform one last time. She had refused medals. She had turned down titles. What she wanted was something different. Peace. But not the kind that comes from fear. Back in Geneva, the Galactic Council's new representative arrived in person. A pale-skinned alien from a younger species, barely older than humanity's entry into the stars. Her voice was soft, her eyes cautious. She stood before Earth's United Terran Assembly and said, "We welcome Earth as a full member of the Galactic Council, not as an observer, not as a subject, but as an equal." There was no applause, just a quiet, deep understanding. A shift had begun. The old rules would not hold. Earth's resistance had sparked something across the galaxy. Some called it rebellion. Others called it evolution. Rhea called it balance. Rhea returned to Mars to visit the survivors. Cities were being rebuilt. The Martian ridge cannons were now silent, their barrels cold. Children played in the dust, near the craters where war had once raged. On Titan, schools taught new history, not just about Earth, but about what happened when humanity said no to fear. On Europa, scientists had sealed Project Aegis. The AI war cores were disarmed, not because they were evil, but because they were no longer needed. And in orbit, the fleet still watched. Not in fear, but with readiness. Because Earth remembered. In a quiet hangar aboard the Unity, Rhea sat alone. Her old command chair stood empty. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small metal pin, a symbol of the Stellar Defense Force. She stared at it for a moment before placing it gently on the control console. Her job was done. She had led a people not only through war, but into something greater, identity. Before she left the ship for the last time, she recorded one final message. It was not a broadcast. It was for those who came after. To the next generation of explorers, soldiers, leaders. You'll be told Earth was once weak, that we were small, that we were alone. But you must remember, we stood when others said we would fall. We held our ground in the dark. We reached for the stars, not in arrogance, but in hope. Honor the past, build the future, and never forget what it took to earn our place here. Not through surrender, but through unity, through fire, through honor. Rhea walked off the ship and stepped onto the surface of Mars. The red soil shifted beneath her boots. A soft wind blew past. The war was over. Her journey was over. She looked up at the sky, no longer unknown. The stars now belonged to Earth, too.